A former intern is sharing stories about how Blake Lively made her cry.
As I walked out, I just started crying because I was afraid.
She and her husband are bullies.
She was getting a lot of hate. This is a mean girl. This isn't a good person.
At first, I was so upset that they hired Penn for Gossip Girl, I actually poisoned the whole cast against him. Oh, how sweet of you.
It'd be very difficult for anyone to ever work with Blake Lively ever again.
Typical fucking bully.
Mean Girl, yeah.
Also,
wasn't she in Mean Girl?
Yeah, she
No,
was.
she was.
Wait.
No, she wasn't. That's
Gossip Girl.
she was in Gossip.
Oh, Gossip Girl,
Mean
yeah.
Girl movie?
Chuck has a matching pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them.
Blake Lively just got put on blast after crew members spilled the tea about her rude and nasty behavior on set.
She admits to poisoning the whole cast against co-star.
I mean, now other footage is coming out of Blake Lively admitting, hey, when I get involved with projects, they hire me as the actress, and sometimes I don't really tell them, but I actually want to come in and I want to rewrite it, and I want to be a producer, and I want to do all of these things.
It was just a conversation starter. You know, she was sitting there. I think she was probably 8 months pregnant. She had it wasn't a small bump even. It was quite big.
You have a baby on the way. Congratulations.
What makes you say that?
The shark told me.
You know, you don't ever say that to a woman.
8 years. I probably have diapers in the car. Honestly, I have
that
so
would
many
help.
kids that I could just give you some of those.
Thank you.
The diapers, not the kids.
Can you say hi to Stephanie? It's my girlfriend.
Hi, Stephanie.
Thank you so much.
should leave him.
Is accused of having turned the whole cast of It Ends With Us against Justin. By the time they premiered the movie, Ryan Reynolds had unfollowed him on Insta, so had Blake, so had the rest of the cast.
Justin Baldoni purchased the rights to the book, It Ends With Us. He is the producer, director, and one of the lead actors in it. She took over every single aspect of the movie. The movie was really aimed at, providing education and insight and relating to the stories of what women go through when they experience DV. She made it a lighthearted thing.
For years, she's been subtly tearing down less prominent co-stars with snide comments and mockery, all while playing the part of Hollywood's perfect darling. The moment someone steps up to disagree with her or share a different view, she turns their workday into a total nightmare.
So she filed a lawsuit before actually having clear evidence, and we're supposed to just continue to believe her.
Everyone's seeing through it. They're seeing through the BS. And, at the end of the day, they're the ones who are seeking gag orders against Baldoni from releasing information, whereas his team is saying, nope, let's put out everything. And in the end, that's exactly what happened. He didn't even get to see the final cut of the movie.
Get out of here.
Because Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds came in with their own team, their own editors. They completely hijacked this thing because Blake Lively had alienated the entire cast against him. She had convinced everyone that he was this monster, this terrible person, so she could wield all creative control of the movie and end up getting her final cut of the movie, not Justin Baldoni.
For the screening, she made him and his whole family go down to the basement.
Go down to the basement during the premiere of his movie. He literally was not even allowed to be at the premiere of his own movie.
Why is that?
She made it a lighthearted thing. She wanted to talk about, wear your florals, and she used it as an opportunity to promote her alcohol brand, which is insane because many people know that alcoholism really fuels DV as well. So it was completely tone deaf. This isn't a good person. And in response to this, what she did was she created a smear campaign against Baldoni, stating that actually he was making a smear campaign against her. And that's the reason why she had all of this negative backlash.
It's becoming obvious now that the sweet, charming Blake everyone adored isn't nearly as likable once the cameras stop rolling.
This is such an important story. I know you don't give a shit about it, but this is such an important story. Because if they would have won against him, a guy whose dream was to be a Hollywood actor, producer, director, they could have crushed his career if they would have won.
But she compares herself to Khaleesi. I believe she has dragons. She's like, I have dragons just like Khaleesi. I have Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift. They were doing everything they could to intimidate this guy who is a much smaller actor than Blake Lively.
He's done, in Hollywood, Nobody's gonna touch him. So that person that you're talking about, it's him.
Kevin
His
Spacey
dreams,
will.
everything that he's done. And then Amy, just really fast, can you go back to the editing process? There was text messages where the editor was like, to him.
Lively sued Baldoni in December of 2024, accusing him of sexual harassment on a set and launching a smear. While Baldoni counter-sued Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds for defamation and extortion on Wednesday, Lively filed an amend law complaint stating she was not alone in raising allegation of on-set misconduct.
And as a response to this, she was getting a lot of hate. In fact, people were posting old interviews of her that weren't even really relevant at all to the movie, but they're just highlighting this is a mean girl. This isn't a good person.
He loves women. He's a male feminist. He loves women. He cares. He's doing all this.
Let's start with It Ends With Us, the film that was supposed to be Baldoni's big break. This dude poured his soul into it, secured the rights, shaped the script, directed the thing, all to bring Colleen Hoover's gut-wrenching domestic violence tale to life.
Essentially, in her complaint, she said things like he walked in on her breastfeeding. She said things like he chastised her for her weight. She, in fact, messaged him saying, hey, I'm breastfeeding right now, but come into my trailer. Let's go ahead and run some lines.
I saw it.
She made a comment that Baldoni said she was too heavy for him to lift. That's not true. He simply said, I have a back injury. How much should I train to be able to lift you? Something along those lines. And she made it a complaint about weight, and then they actually put it in the Deadpool movie. One of the other conditions, she said, you know, we need to have an intimacy coordinator on set because I'm not comfortable with being close with you because you're doing all these inappropriate things. He provided a text message showing, hey, I have an intimacy coordinator. I'll get you on a call with her. No, I'm fine, thank you. I don't need to meet with the intimacy coordinator. So essentially, every single thing that she's claimed against him has been disproved.
So like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you and then we could
Then Blake lively struts in like, she owns the joint. Suddenly, it's not Baldoni's movie anymore. It's hers. She demands massive rewrites, turning a raw, real story into some lighthearted Blake Lively showcase. Insiders say she clashed with him nonstop, acting like she knew more about filmmaking than a guy who'd been grinding on this for years.
So she has the full exchanges. Justin then provided the full context of those exchanges, and now she's trying to claim, oh, well, we need the receipts to verify this and prove that he's smearing. You need to prove he's smearing. I thought you already did. She admits to poisoning the whole cast against co-star Penn Badgley. And what I think she did with the cast of It Ends With Us, which was poison them against Justin, just like that Forbes thing proved, she lies to the director and then takes over. It looks like she also has a history of poisoning the cast to get her way. At first, I was so upset that they hired Penn for Gossip Girl, I actually poisoned the whole cast against him. Oh, how sweet of you.
By the time it's done, Baldoni's cut out of the final edit. Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds swoop in with their own team, butchering his vision. Premiere night, they stick him and his family in the basement like some afterthought while she hogs the spotlight. That's not just shady, it's downright vicious.
I panic before I have to wear a really skimpy outfit, but I don't have enough willpower. I had to do a scene in a bra and shorts for the first time in 2 years. On the day of the shoot, I ate a pork burrito, chips, and a Coke. Afterwards, I thought, I probably shouldn't have done that. She's now refuting the reports of discord on set of Gossip Girl, which, yeah, right, give me a break. They clearly didn't like each other. There's so many rumors and things that have come out on the history of Gossip Girl. That includes her real-life leading man, Penn Badgley. Although she admits she was unhappy when he was cast in the series, at first I was so upset that they hired him, she says. I actually poisoned the whole cast against him, but then they noticed that he wasn't a jerk and was actually a really nice, charming person. Almost immediately, I realized that too, but it took me about a week to admit it. Penn is now friends with Justin Baldoni. They share a bromance. Well, why? Well, they're on the same board of a charity, and they're also part of the same faith, as you can see here. She tends to have this history of being with the co-star to get the big part, and then, you know, Ryan Reynolds sort of stopped that, I guess. But it could, if that's true and Ryan knows that, it could explain why he might have been a little bit jealous. Now I'm starting to see it. He really can turn that screw if she wants to, calculating, manipulative, right? And mean. There's just a lot of it there, and it's all adding up. I end you with this TikTok. Kudos to this TikToker.
I'm not one of those people, or am I? I don't know. You tell me. Is there a resemblance?
Oh, I think Blake has a type. I definitely think she has a type.
Fast forward to December 2024, and Lively drops a legal bomb. She sues Baldoni for sexual harassment and a smear campaign, screaming that he made her life hell on set. The headlines explode. Variety, Deadline. All the big dogs lap it up. She's got Reynolds in her corner, flexing his Hollywood clout, and for a hot minute, it looks like Baldoni's toast. She claims he barged in while she was breastfeeding, body-shamed her, made her feel unsafe. Classic villain stuff. Her PR machine's in overdrive, painting her as the brave survivor taking down a toxic creep. It's a power play so blatant it's almost impressive. Almost. But Baldoni doesn't just roll over. He hits back hard. January 2025, he slaps Lively and Reynolds with a $400 million countersuit for defamation and extortion. And he's got the receipts. Leaked texts from 2023 show Lively invited him into her trailer while breastfeeding. "Hey, come in, let's run lines," she says. No invasion, no harassment, just her calling the shots. Body shaming? Another lie. He asked how much he needed to train to lift her safely for a scene, standard stunt prep, and she twisted it into some cruel attack. The intimacy coordinator she demanded? He offered one. She said, "Nah, I'm good." Every accusation she threw at him crumbles under those messages. This isn't a victim fighting back. It's a bully caught red-handed. This isn't new for Lively, though. Rewind to Gossip Girl, her big breakout. She straight up admitted in a Glamour interview she poisoned the cast against Penn Badgley when he got hired. "I was so upset they picked him," she bragged. "So, I turned everyone against him." Real classy, right? Took her a week to admit he wasn't a jerk, but the damage was done. Then there's Leighton Meester, sweet, down-to-earth Leighton, who Lively couldn't stand. Crews say she spread rumors, made snide jabs about Meester's looks, even mocked her rough childhood in interviews. Lively didn't just ignore the little people either. She treated them like dirt. One crew guy, Ewood, got called a monkey to his face at a live event. No nods, no hellos, just pure entitlement. This is who she's always been, folks. Then there's the Betty Boos fiasco. It Ends With Us is about domestic violence, serious, heavy stuff. So, what does Lively do? Uses the press tour to hawk her alcohol brand. Yeah, you heard that right. She's out there pushing cocktails while the film's supposed to honor abuse survivors. Twitter lost it. One viral post compared it to peddling cigarettes at a cancer rally. Alcohol's a huge trigger in DV cases, and here's Blake, grinning like it's no big deal. Fans called her tone-deaf, heartless, shameless, and they're dead right. She turned a story that mattered into a cheap ad for her side hustle. Disgusting. Hollywood's finally waking up. By March 2025, the leaks are everywhere, and Lively stories falling apart faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. Journalists who hyped her lawsuit are backtracking. Andy Senor's breaking down those texts on his show, racking up millions of views, and even her diehard fans are jumping ship. The industry that kissed her feet for years, thanks to Reynolds and her media buddies, is starting to ghost her. Meanwhile, Baldoni's the guy who wouldn't break. He's got Penn Badgley in his corner now. Ironic, huh? And the public's rooting for him. Lively thought she could crush him, but she picked the wrong fight. Here's the kicker. She tried to play the Me Too card, and it's blowing up in her face. For a while, that movement was untouchable, exposed real scumbags, gave victims a voice. But Lively's using it like a cheap weapon, and people see through the act. She's demanding phone records now, claiming Baldoni's team smeared her, but he's already laid out the full truth, unedited texts, witnesses, the works. She's flailing, desperate to keep the victim crown, but it's slipping. This isn't about justice, it's about control. And for once, she's losing it. So where does this leave us? Blake Lively's empire of charm and lies is cracking wide open. Justin Baldoni's not just surviving, he's winning. A scrappy hero taking down a Hollywood Goliath. This saga's far from over. But one thing's crystal clear. Lively's not the golden girl anymore. She's the villain who overplayed her hand. Stick around, because if this keeps unraveling, we're in for one heck of a show.